developing digital economy. This is a session where we would like to share experiences from the different countries, and I invite you to listen very carefully, compile your questions. If you need to understand more of anything that the panelists say, you'll have that opportunity. So, out of respect for you, Madam Minister, I would like to take you first. I know everybody knows you, but still.
Mr. Moderator, out. Thank you very much. I thought I'd already been... Hello? Ah, okay, sorry. I thought I'd already been introduced, so we could skip my introduction, but I'm the Minister for Communications of Ghana and Member of Parliament for the Ablekuma West constituency, a constituency near where we are now. And I'm very passionate about the rights of the disadvantaged groups as well. So in another life, I was a very active women's and children's rights activist. I think I still retain a little bit of that somewhere. But it's my pleasure to be part of this panel, and I'm looking forward to learning more about what's being done in other parts of the continent to move our quest to digitize our economies and leapfrog development using technology, making that a reality. Thank you.
The only thing you left out is our role model. Dr. Yeboah, please.
This one. All right. My name is Dr. Isa Osei-Yeboah Boateng. I'm currently the Dean for Faculty of Computing and Information Systems at the Ghana Technology University College here in Accra. I'm also a cybersecurity expert and telecoms engineer by profession. My research interest focuses on cybersecurity vulnerabilities, digital forensics, and then digital transformation, big data, cloud computing, and so on. And one of my aspirations is to see Africa secured. In other words, all the enterprises and networks within Africa being more secured. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bonjour, je suis Madame Regina Fleur-Bessou de la Côte d'Ivoire. Je suis chez le régulateur ivoirien. Je suis juriste comme Madame le ministre. Et en ce moment, je suis la présidente de la commission d'études 1 de l'Union internationale de télécommunications, du secteur du développement. Je voudrais adresser déjà mes remerciements à l'UIT pour avoir bien voulu m'associer à ce panel d'échange. C'est vrai que notre ministre devrait être là, mais pour des questions d'agenda, n'a pas pu être présent. Donc, veuillez nous en excuser pour cet aspect. Alors, le sujet est d'intérêt pour nous et les problématiques qui seront certainement soulevées, comme Madame le ministre l'a dit, nous intéressent énormément. Il y a aujourd'hui, étant à l'ère de l'économie numérique, cet environnement a des challenges et des avantages qu'il y ait et qu'il est vraiment d'intérêt d'adresser. Alors pour nous, quelques défis, nous pensons que ce sont des sujets qui nous permettront de partager l'expérience des uns et des autres et nous pourrions également présenter notre expérience en la matière. Je vous remercie.
Thank you. Cosmas, please. I think you pressed twice.
Hello. Thank you, moderator. My name is Cosmas Chigwamba. I am from Zimbabwe. Our first president was married to a wonderful lady from Ghana. This is not the reason why I'm here. I've come to attend the Regional Development Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, I started off my career as a teacher of mathematics and science. When ICTs were introduced back then, I got interested in ICTs and I found myself gravitating towards ICTs. Eventually, I became the director of ICT for the government of Zimbabwe for many years and implemented a lot of application systems that the government of Zimbabwe is using today. Now, I'm the principal director in the Ministry of ICT and Cybersecurity. My passion is to see as many people as possible using ICTs. And as the Honorable Minister has indicated, that we should leave no one behind. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Balfour? Tiela?
Bonjour, je m'appelle Balfour Wichikoiletu. Je suis de la République démocratique du Congo. Nous sommes très intéressés par l'économie numérique parce que en ce qui concerne le PIB, nous sommes l'économie numérique revient en deuxième position après les mines. Donc, nous donnons beaucoup d'importance à ce qui concerne les TIC. D'ailleurs, aujourd'hui, dans la salle, nous avons une forte délégation de plus ou moins 10 personnes qui participent à ces travaux. Donc, nous sommes très intéressés à ce qui concerne l'évolution de TIC en Afrique et particulièrement dans notre pays, la République démocratique du Congo.
Thank you very much, Balfour. As I started off saying, digital economy is not a choice. We have to transform our economies. And we know that all of us have started. We are at different stages, but we would like to learn from one another. And so my first question, and this goes to all of you, if you could give us perhaps 5 minutes highlighting the things that you are involved in that would be looked at as boosting the digital economy in the country where you are or in the area where you are, whether it is in academia, what you are promoting for the country that would boost digital economy. With that, I would like to then start with, again, the Minister, Usura, to, I think it will be expounding on what you've already said, whatever you'd like to emphasize there.
Thank you very much. I touched on quite a few of the initiatives that we're taking in Ghana during my keynote. But I just want to emphasize a few more things that we believe are critical for us to attain the digital economy that we all so want. We need massive infrastructural development, and the fiber infrastructure alone is not enough. We need to invest in the last mile. And so we're exploring the possibility of using fiber over the power lines to be able to extend connectivity as quickly as possible to all parts of the country. We're using our Universal Access Fund to accelerate the connectivity of our unserved and underserved areas. We use about 95% of it in provision of services, but we're increasingly beginning to realize that it is not enough because of the massive infrastructure development that we need to put in place within the shortest possible time to ensure that all the various other initiatives that we're taking would be beneficial to everybody living in every part of this country. Another thing that we're looking at, well, we have about 5 undersea submarine cables landing here. We have invested in country fiber and a 4G LTE network nationwide. There is one loop that is still not connected that we're looking at, the Western Corridor fiber, and then the undersea connectivity to link our offshore facilities. But we're considering that as well. We think it is important that, as I indicated, we have a proper data base. Without data, it is impossible to plan. We've used anecdotal data for many of our things, but we're in the era of big data. And so we need to be able to secure, analyze, and utilize the data that we generate here ourselves for effective planning. And so that's all part of the reason why we're doing the national ID system, to have a proper register of who a Ghanaian is and who is resident in this country, and use that to be able to validate the other databases that we have in this country. And we need to be able to locate our people properly. And that is why we're doing the national digital property addressing system. It will ultimately be linked with street names. And so it's designed to be able to identify every 5 centimeters of this country. So every piece of land here has a digital address already. We need to be able to link it to whoever is occupying that piece of property, link that to their national ID, which will be linked to the other ID systems that others have. So with one unique number, we can trace whatever transaction you have been engaged in. We're also insisting that people should have a tax identification number, which will assist us to also improve our revenue generation and collection. So those are all parts of the things that we are doing. And we're integrating our databases as well, so it is easy to validate. The e-Transform project is helping us assist other agencies to digitize their operations. And that's why I talked about the e-procurement, e-cabinet, e-parliament, e-justice, e-health. All that is also being done. But there's one thing we're doing that I find particularly interesting. Government wants to use its purchasing power to assist local software and applications developers to also grow in that space. So our digital property address system is being done by a local Ghanaian startup. And we think that they've produced a world-class system that is akin to what 3 Words or all the other property address systems out there. But this is a local initiative. The EID system that we're putting in place is also being done by a local Ghanaian world-class company. And we think that we have the talent here, but instead of government procuring Indian, American, European software or applications, we can encourage our young people to also innovate. And government can also assist them by giving them the resources they need to be able to also continue to innovate. That's how we can also grow and tap into the multi-billion applications and software industry. We're also working on establishing technology parks around the country. The first one we did the Accra Digital Center is now full. The capacity is all taken up. And so there's a clamor of startups to also find co-working spaces, affordable and reliable internet to be able to plan and work without paying, subsidized. And so it is easy for them to also get the infrastructure they need to be able to do their work and a conducive environment within which to work. That would assist us also encourage our young people to explore the potential of IT, to create new job opportunities for them. I know we will talk about challenges, but it is not enough to put in place all this investment without the requisite human resources to be able to manage it. And we're increasingly facing a skills gap that we need to address very, very quickly. And so, as I indicated, we're looking at aggressively equipping our people with the necessary IT skills across the country, using our community information centers, which need to be renovated and updated and upgraded to be able to provide IT-enabled spaces across the whole country, pending the total connectivity of these areas, so that anybody can go there and find access to the internet and people to teach them the basic literary skills that they need to be able to compete in this current environment. Attitudinal change is a major challenge that we're coming up against. People are comfortable working the way they have always worked in the past. So yes, technology, you say, would improve the way they work, but why should they use it? So there are places where you would find the government has invested in state-of-the-art IT infrastructure and equipment, which is not being utilized optimally. And so hand in hand with the provision of the infrastructure, we need to also work on change management and attitudinal change as well. Without that, we would find that all the investment we're putting in place have become white horses, and they're like furniture. And we need to guard against that. And the rapid, how do I put it, with changes in technology, the cost of putting in the technology in the first place, the cost of updating it regularly is also a challenge. But in our area, we know that the efficiencies that we generate would be able to pay for the cost of regular updates and upgrades that are needed. And once we get the critical mass of people utilizing the technologies that are available to improve upon their efficiencies, we would see the benefits that that also would translate into improved efficiencies. Digital financial services is something that we're also particularly keen on, and so this government is determined to move to, we can't have a cashless society. Everybody loves the feel of the banknotes in their wallets, but we can have a cash light society where we have more electronic forms of completing transactions, which will provide more certainty and reduce the avenues for people to corrupt the system and make sure that whatever services we pay for actually reach the intended recipient, and there's a record of it, and so we can get the services that we pay for. And we know that upscaling the use of mobile money across the country would work. And I know the Ministry of Finance is also working on point-of-sale devices, which will reduce the cash in the system as well, e-switch and all that. And the interoperability platform would make it easy and seamless to transfer monies digitally across the various platforms, either mobile money or bank balance, bank accounts, and even credit card transactions as well. Now, we've also just joined the Smart Africa initiative. And there's one interesting feature that they are thinking of implementing, which we find very, very useful if we can do that. If we can have our own telecommunications settlement switch in the continent, instead of having all our telecoms being settled, transactions being completed in Europe and America before being sent back to Africa. If we can have our own regional switch, which is terminating all calls meant to and from the continent, just think about the amount of money that we'll be saving on the continent and the ease of doing business in the continent, and the manner in which we can also use that to also grow our own local industry, in the telecoms industry. I find that very, very interesting. So that's something that we're exploring. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Minister. I think it looks like we have to spend a few more days in Ghana so that we can learn all that. A message just passed to me that NCC has something arranged after this session, so I'm going to hurry it up a little bit. Okay, I would like to ask Cosmas about your experience, and this time I will put on my timer. So 5 minutes, please.
I took a little advantage of my position.
You have to push it twice, I think.
Hello? Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, moderator. In Zimbabwe, we have recognized that for us to develop the digital economy, people need to be able to access this technology. They need also the ability to use that technology, and that technology should be within their reach. So our efforts have been directed at improving access, skills development, and looking at issues of affordability. Zimbabwe is a landlocked country, but I'm happy to announce that we are connected to undersea cables through Mozambique, South Africa, and Namibia. We are connected to 3 undersea cable operators, and that is bringing sufficient bandwidth that we need for us. We have also been looking at extending the reach of our fiber optic network. We have now covered most important centers in the country and are in the middle of extending the fiber optic connectivity to our district centers. And when we get to the district centers, we think we have pushed fiber to such an extent that other last mile access technologies can take over and deliver the service to the people. We are using all types of last mile access, fiber to the home, fiber to the building, fiber to the cable, wireless to the home. We are using all those technologies. And also for LTE technology, we are developing that. We are increasing our mobile broadband coverage to areas so that all areas are covered and are within access. The difficult areas, the areas which would not be economic in which to cover this, we are using universal services funds to develop the technology that will enable people in those areas to access this. We have in Zimbabwe to enable many people to access, similar to what I heard the minister saying, we also have community information centers in Zimbabwe. We have looked at the postal infrastructure, which has been made more or less redundant by the technology, and we are using that infrastructure to create the community information centers. So wherever there is a post office, we have a community information centers. A community information center is our center for access. It's our center for training. People in rural areas will go to those community information centers and be trained in how to use ICTs. Our community information center is also, we use it for catching the minds of the young people and developing their dexterity skills through gaming. We also provide gaming facilities in those community information centers. In terms of skills development, we've got a program that is running where we are equipping all our schools. We have not covered all yet, but the intention is to cover all schools and give them computers. This training, as I've indicated, is also happening at the CICs. And we have set up a training center for senior civil servants so that they are skilled in the use of this technology. And we have public service training institutes scattered around the country, and each of those public service training institutes trains civil servants in the use of ICTs. We are developing a data center that we are going to use to manage our data and all the applications that we are developing. We are developing e-health, e-learning, we are e-tourism, e-agriculture. Recently, we have started a pilot project on telemedicine in one of the provinces. We also want to develop the ICT industry, and we have launched what we call the ICT Innovation Drive through Universal Services Funds. This is a project that will identify young people with projects that are likely to succeed and will help them fund those projects to commercialization. In terms of affordability, this technology must be affordable for many people to use it. We have started reducing our charges on mobile phones. We used to be on 22 cents per minute. Now we are on 16. The intention is to keep on reducing, but without killing the companies that operate in there. Just recently, last month, we reduced our data charges so that people may have access to those data charges. In terms of financial services, we have 3 mobile operators, and each of those 3 mobile operators is running a financial service. One of them is dominant, and also there is no interoperability between them. We are working now to create that interoperability so that one does not have to depend on just one service provider. In terms of legislation, we are working to, our legislation is now being crafted by the Attorney General on cybersecurity, on computer crime and cybersecurity. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm very proud that ITU is a partner with Zimbabwe in that telemedicine project that we have just delivered.
Yes, in fact, I should have mentioned it myself. ITU are our partner on the telemedicine project.
Thank you very much. Now, Dr. Boateng.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, since my minister is here and is speaking from the Ghanaian perspective, I will take it from academia and consulting perspective. So the first objective that, or one of the objectives of the WTDC 17 that my works have been focusing on is the objective number 4, inclusive digital society, to be able to foster development and use of telecommunications, ICT, and applications to empower people and societies for sustainable development. And some of the works that personally I've been involved with a number of consulting groups from Ghana, from Kenya, and Liberia towards digital government. And one of the key things is to be able to promote technology for good or for public good. So for the economists, they usually will talk about something for the good for the public. So that is one of the things that we're looking at. And then also to stress on the fact that e-government, for that matter, e-transformation strategies, should also be geared towards public value creation. So when we're able to create value with ICT, because ICTs are usually for as an enabler. It's used as an enabler. So to be able to promote the digital economy, that is one of the key things we need to. Some of my works also have also been involved with targeting the AU's Agenda 2063 aspirations, and there are a number of them. I won't bore you with that. But again, the couple of them that come into focus with the discussion that we are doing. So aspirations number 3, for instance, is to have an Africa of good governance, democracy, respect for human rights, justice, and rule of law. And these could be achieved with technology. The minister talks about, and other people have spoken about, e-justice, for instance, other aspects of e-democracy. Even in Ghana, with the Ghana card, it is towards democracy, transparency, and so on. And then the second one is the aspiration 7, which is Africa as a strong, united, and influential global player and partner. And the only way today that we could leverage would be through ICTs. So we can, as a whole, in a continent, would be able to leverage with ICT. That is when we can compete with the rest of the world. So that is some of the discussions or some of the consulting work that I personally have been involved. In essence, is to be able to use these digital governance or digital economy to leverage innovation. We talked about the fact that in Ghana we have the Accra Digital Center. Personally, I visited there about 2 weeks ago to see some of our students who are, some of them are on attachment, but a couple of them, about 3, have been employed by an ICT startup, and they are doing marvelous with developments in software. And so as a teacher, when you visit with them and you get good feedback, then it encourages you and it urges you on that at least we're doing something good with our university, Ghana Technology University College, and specifically my Faculty of Computing. Digital governance also provides us with huge opportunities for societies and economies. For instance, we could create a more citizen-centric, transparent, efficient administration, whether with the public services, as basic as being able to create digital attendance system, for instance, can cure a number of things that we see in our public sector. So every employee, every civil servant or public servant would go to work and log in as to when you came to work and when you're leaving. So this system could also have a built-in system. So if somebody logs in and had left the system for a long time, it should be able to automatically turn it off to indicate that probably the person is no longer active. Single sign-on or multiple sign-on, depending on whatever approaches we could use. But there are some prerequisites for this social well-being and economic growth. That is when we need to do a number of things. So we talk in Ghana about a number of e-transformation initiatives. And all these put together would be what we would be able to use in promoting a digital economy. The key question here is, we admit from research, from practice, that there is a huge gap. Now, the question we ask is, these aspirations that I talked about, are they mere aspirations that the AU have set 2063? It seems far, but it will catch up. Many years ago, we used to talk about so-and-so 2000, and we thought year 2000 would never come. Now we shifted it to year 2020, and it is closer to us than we thought. So 2063 would also come. So the key issue is we should be able to put our concerted efforts together to be able to see these things actually seeing fruition with implementation. A guru in management, Peter Drucker, has said, you can only manage what you can measure. So my proposition is we in Africa should be able to have clear-cut objectives that we can measure, clear-cut metrics that we can measure, so that whatever we're talking about, if we can measure it, then we can be able to achieve, so that the digital transformation agenda would not be a mere rhetoric, but it could be a comprehensive way of focusing on transformation agenda. Digital government also provides positive benefits, such as improved governance, okay, I'm wrapping up, efficiency, participation, and so on and so forth. And then also, admittedly, there are some challenges which at the right time we could also talk about. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There's a message here that we don't understand, giving us seconds to turn off the system. Thank you very much. I can see very critical similarities in what you are all doing. And I think we'll have an opportunity to actually address them in detail. It's a good thing. It means that across the board, Africa is in the same direction. So, Monsieur Barfour. Yes, can you go ahead? Barfour.
Thank you very much. Merci. C'est justement pour appuyer le dossier que nous avons ce matin en ce qui concerne le développement des TIC en Afrique. En tout cas, ce qui concerne la République démocratique du Congo, des efforts ont été largement fournis pour que nous puissions participer, comme tous les autres pays d'Afrique, dans la bonne voie de TIC. En moins de 10 ans, nous avons réussi à augmenter le taux de pénétration de la téléphonie mobile, notamment mobile, parce que aujourd'hui, avec 80 millions d'habitants, nous atteignons au moins 40 millions d'abonnés téléphonie mobile. Ça veut dire que nous avons un taux de pénétration d'au moins 50% pour un pays aussi vaste que la République démocratique du Congo. Je voulais dire, pour ça, il a fallu faire l'infrastructure, une très grande infrastructure de près de 4000 km allant de l'ouest au sud, c'est-à-dire de l'océan Atlantique, passant par Kinshasa jusque dans la province minière de Katanga. Et à cette occasion, nous avons la possibilité d'être en liaison avec des pays voisins. La République démocratique du Congo a 9 voisins et nous devons être connectés avec tous les voisins pour permettre à la population congolaise d'être en contact avec les voisins. Ces backbones fonctionnent depuis maintenant 3 ans et ça donne satisfaction parce qu'à ce moment ici, par exemple, pour ce qui est en pratique sur l'éducation, comme disait Madame la ministre a parlé, nous n'avons pas de cartes d'identité numérique jusqu'à présent, mais à ce qui concerne le bulletin pour les élèves, nous avons des bulletins numériques sur l'ensemble du territoire national. Toutes les écoles sont identifiées les bulletins ne peuvent pas être trichés. Chaque élève a un bulletin qui est reconnu par l'ensemble du territoire national. Il en est de même pour les étudiants. Nous avons maintenant des cartes d'étudiants numérisées. On ne peut pas tricher d'une université à une autre. Tout est contrôlé par le ministère de l'Éducation nationale. Donc c'est quelque chose qui nous concerne et qui nous préoccupait avant, parce qu'à l'époque, il suffit seulement qu'un élève change de classe, il va dans une autre école et on ne sait pas le contrôler. Aujourd'hui, on ne peut pas tricher. En ce qui concerne par exemple le service financier qu'on a évoqué tout à l'heure, nous pensons que la grandeur du pays nous oblige à faciliter la tâche aux Congolais. Par exemple, le service financier numérique, nous avons 4 sociétés de télécommunications qui font des transferts numériques d'argent. Donc ça facilite la population par les TIC. Donc, pour nous, en ce qui nous concerne la République démocratique du Congo, les TIC ont une importance capitale, parce que moi-même, comme je vous ai présenté au départ, je suis conseiller à la présidence. Ça fait presque 10 ans que nous travaillons pour la promotion des TIC. Donc, en ce qui concerne un élément important, nous sommes en train de chercher, sauvegarder l'espace numérique. C'est-à-dire, par exemple, ce qui concerne la cybersécurité, nous sommes en train de travailler avec l'EIT pour la création au Congo de CIRT, CIRT. On va devoir créer un CIRT national pour contrôler les cybercriminalités et les cyberattaques, pour sauvegarder les éléments que nous avons, parce que l'État congolais sera entièrement informatisé. Donc il faudra sauvegarder cet acquis important, et nous avons recouru aux experts de l'EIT pour l'implémentation des centres de CIRT en République démocratique du Congo. Donc je voulais aussi souligner le fait qu'avec ces câbles à fibre optique que nous avons voulu connecter certaines grandes villes du pays à travers les rings métropolitains, les grandes villes comme Kinshasa, Lubumbashi, Goma, Mbuji-Mayi, Matadi, etc. Ce sont les éléments importants qui concernent la lutte aussi contre la fraude des télécoms, parce que nous savons que c'est une économie numérique, il faut la sauvegarder, et nous avons mis un accent particulier sur la fraude télécom avec l'utilisation de certains experts qui nous aident à lutter contre la fraude des télécommunications. Voilà ce que je voulais dire en ce qui concerne notre contribution dans les TIC. Merci.
Thank you very much. It's a very good opportunity to hear what is happening in DRC. Big country, you have a big job. Now, we'd like to hear from Madame Bessou, please.
Merci bien, cher modérateur. Au niveau de la Côte d'Ivoire, nous avons fait le constat de l'évolution du secteur des télécommunications. Donc, au départ, on était dans un secteur télécommunications TIC. Aujourd'hui, on parle d'économie numérique. Le ministère, sinon le gouvernement, est engagé dynamique pour embrasser ce secteur et son évolution. Aujourd'hui, le secteur de l'économie numérique en Côte d'Ivoire est à forte valeur ajoutée. Il faut dire que depuis 15 ans, au niveau du secteur depuis sa libéralisation, nous nous sommes imposés comme contributeurs de premier plan à la croissance économique ivoirienne. À ce jour, la contribution de l'économie numérique en Côte d'Ivoire à la croissance du produit intérieur brut en 2017 se chiffre à 9%, selon le classement de l'indice de développement des TIC. La Côte d'Ivoire est le 14e 46 pays africains et occupe le 2e rang en Afrique de l'Ouest. Alors, comment est-ce que le gouvernement, à travers le ministère de l'économie numérique, la Poste, a embrassé cette dynamique? Le gouvernement a défini 5 principaux axes de développement. Le premier axe, c'est d'élaborer et de mettre en œuvre une réglementation qui soit en adéquation avec les enjeux du développement de l'économie numérique. Le deuxième axe, c'est d'assurer la disponibilité et un accès équitable aux infrastructures TIC. Le troisième axe était de favoriser le développement du contenu local. Quatrième axe, favoriser l'accessibilité et l'accès aux TIC, incluant la protection des différents consommateurs. L'axe 5, c'était de favoriser le renforcement des compétences. Donc, autour de ces différents axes qui ont été définis par le gouvernement ivoirien, nous avons pu atteindre certaines réalisations, dont la mise en place d'un village des technologies de l'information et de la biotechnologie, qui est une plateforme qui est dédiée aux différentes startups pour les emmener à vraiment développer et à produire des solutions qui permettront à l'économie numérique d'impacter les autres domaines d'activité. Nous savons tous qu'aujourd'hui, l'économie numérique est un secteur qui est assez transverse, qui interagit avec les autres domaines d'activité, et je crois bien que nous y reviendrons dans les échanges. C'est un secteur qui impacte beaucoup les autres secteurs d'activité et donc qui boosterait énormément, à notre sens, le développement. Au titre des réalisations, nous avons l'école supérieure africaine des TIC, qu'on appelle l'ESATIC, qui est Centre d'excellence en matière de cybersécurité, donc qui œuvre au renforcement des capacités. Nous avons également un point d'échange Internet national. Nous avons développé une plateforme de lutte contre la cybercriminalité pour adresser les questions de cybersécurité. Nous avons développé un programme de gouvernance électronique et c'est au travers de l'Agence nationale de services universels de télécommunications que les différents projets de développement sont menés. Et donc, également la migration vers la TNT. Nous avons le réseau national haut débit qui est déployé. Et donc, les 2 premières phases nous ont permis de déployer 2000 km de fibre optique. Et nous avons la phase 3 qui devrait permettre de couvrir 5000 km. Nous avons également le système de gestion et de contrôle automatisé du spectre. Et nous avons le banc de test IPv6. Donc, en termes également de réalisation, nous disposons d'une fondation qui est animée par le ministère, la Fondation Jeunesse Numérique, qui encadre, alloue des fonds pour encourager, pour promouvoir les différentes activités des startups, des jeunes au développement de contenus locaux. C'est un peu le rôle de la Fondation en complément avec le village des technologies. Et nous avons également initié, sinon redynamisé le processus d'identification des abonnés de téléphonie mobile. Et voici un peu pour les quelques réalisations que nous pouvons éventuellement donner. Les encours, la migration vers P6 continue. Le plan national des télécommunications d'urgence est en cours de mise en œuvre. Les programmes e-agriculture, le programme, la plateforme de signature électronique, le programme de désenclavement des zones rurales pour atteindre 100% de couverture à l'horizon 2020. Nous avons également un programme e-éducation, le projet e-handicap pour tenir compte de l'accessibilité, que ce sont des questions assez cruciales concernant le développement de l'économie numérique. Il faut tenir compte de toutes les parties prenantes, l'accessibilité, la protection des consommateurs, les enfants en ligne. Tout ça, ce sont des problématiques qui doivent être adressées pendant que nous pensons aux aspects techniques, aux aspects infrastructurels du développement de l'économie numérique. Et donc, nous avons des projets dans ce sens. l'e-santé également. Nous avons également en cours un projet de cybercentre communautaire pour une connexion pour tous, un projet de maturité numérique et également le projet Un citoyen, un ordinateur, parce qu'aujourd'hui l'accès à l'Internet, c'est poser d'ordinateurs dans les ménages. L'accès à Internet, c'est avoir, en termes de réseau, c'est pouvoir accéder au réseau. Et ce sont des questions que nous essayons de traiter au travers de ces projets. Donc, voici en substance les quelques réalisations et les encours au niveau de la Côte d'Ivoire. Nous avons des experts du ministère qui sont avec nous ce matin. Vous pourrez les rencontrer entre les coulisses, des experts également de l'organe de régulation, et nous pourrons vous en dire un peu plus de façon détaillée sur.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now we know why she's the ITU chair for Study Group 1, where a lot of this stuff is discussed. I think the message that is coming to me is a very good message, and I'm sure you've received the same interesting approach to things. We see that in each delivery, in each country, there is a focus on the citizen. We say, let's not leave anybody behind. We say, let's use ICTs for inclusion, and it looks like that is being done all across the board. I see a focus on infrastructure. We can't do anything without developing our infrastructure, and also making a deliberate effort to reduce cost. I see a focus on applications development, because once we've built this infrastructure and our citizens have nothing that is appropriate for them to use, we go nowhere. But I also see a focus on government services. Citizens need governments. Governments need to give them information, and citizens need to give government information as well. So that's a focus that I see has also gone across the board. A mention of data, lots of data being generated. And I also see the need that is being addressed on different levels for cybersecurity, security and confidence in networks. Spectrum was mentioned once. Migration from analog to digital is very important. I think we'll touch on that when we start discussing regional initiatives, because a lot of what the panelists have talked about are very dependent on having the appropriate spectrum to operate in. So let's not be lazy in migration, because whatever you do is dependent on actually having spectrum to do it. Entrepreneurship featured a lot. Technoparks that are being built, some on e-agriculture. In Africa, our population is really agricultural. And I probably would, if we had more time, I'm sure we would hear what is being done in agriculture. I will give you an opportunity. You see, this paper passed to me is that we are beyond time, but I would like to, for you to have an opportunity to interact. So let's take a couple of questions and I will yield to the chairman. Yes, would you say who you are and a question?
Hello. Hello.
I wanted to say that ITU fantastic job in this very little about IT.
I think you need to restart so there's translation, please.
Let me mention my name again. My name is Peter Tobin, Dr. Peter Tobin from GIMPA. And I first commend the program and ITU for organizing this. But I wanted to make a point on ITU collaboration with academia. I find that a lot of the things that I've said are great. But the nature of our environment as the political climate of Africa, some of these projects can better be sustained if education or education institutions, universities and colleges are part of the development agenda. So, for example, if there is something to be done in a country regarding a particular area of ICT, if there is some form of research inculcated into whatever we plan to do, then we can ensure continuity in what we are doing. We find that developments are happening. When you go elsewhere in Europe, a lot of it are actually being driven through academia. When we come to Africa, and from the discussions we are having so far, I hear very little about research and development and actually collaborating with universities in actually getting some of the things that we are doing on and making sure that we sustain it long term. I think we should look at that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Could we take another question, please? Nigeria.
Thank you very much. My name is Patrick Ayanbanji Ojo from Nigerian Communications Commission, representing Nigeria. Just a follow-up to the question from the Ghana man, I want to say, in all that I heard today, is all about positives. I heard little about the challenges. It's only the minister who tried to let us know some of the few challenges that we're facing in rolling out ICT. I know that in Nigeria, we have faced a lot of challenges regarding multiple taxation, wherein so many government agencies want to benefit from the same telecom industry. We all agree that today telecom drives virtually everything that we do. And then every agencies of government want to partake. Right now, as I speak, going on in Nigeria, starting from yesterday, there's a stakeholders engagement with government agencies to find a way to resolve this issue. We equally have issues regarding to multiple regulation. If you need to lay a fiber cable, for instance, you see a lot of government agencies coming with their own rules, laws, and all kinds of things. And this has actually set us a little bit back, but we are doing all we can to ensure that there is a common understanding between all other regulatory agencies of government and the only regulatory agency of communication industry. What I want us to discuss in Africa is looking at Ghana, for instance, I don't know what happened outside Accra, but I know that there are so many rural areas in Africa. How much of telecom infrastructure do we have in all those rural areas? How much of town planning, layout? Because for you to deploy infrastructure, you should have a layout of cities, villages, and all that. We are not doing that. Recently, I visited London. Even in the remotest part of London, you have access to data. You have access to telecom facilities. These have been planned years even before what we are talking now. How much of this planning are we doing? How much of engagement are we doing with people in Ministry of National Planning, Ministry of Works, Ministry of Town Planning, and all of that? I think this is an area where we need to look at. Thank you.
Thank you. I think your question is pertinent. We got the gist of it. One more. Okay, I will ask. I see there's a question about ITU, so I guess I'll answer that question. Toby, you could not be more right. But I guess the fault that is on us, ITU, is not to publicize more what we are doing in that area. We are probably the only international organization of our kind and specialized agency of the United Nations that has member states, private sector, and academia as members. A lot of work is being done with universities. A lot of research is being done with universities. A lot of work is being done in study groups in which universities mainly participate, do research and bring them in, and collaborate with others. So my message from you is that we should look at Ghana more closely and have more collaboration. So let me, on the challenges that were not mentioned, I had hoped that we would have another round, but perhaps would anybody like to address this multiple taxation, multiple regulation, and the extent of infrastructure in the rural areas? Okay. Yep. Cosmas?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to touch on the, maybe not to answer the problem, but to say that the problems that you have raised with regards to multiple taxation, multiple regulation, and the extent of infrastructure in rural areas, we also face those problems in Zimbabwe. We find that with regards to fixed telephony, the coverage in rural areas is very limited. But however, with mobile networks, we are making inroads into the rural areas. Our mobile penetration rate at the moment stands at 92%. We had actually reached, okay, I know how we are calculating this. We are using active SIM cards. We had actually last year reached 104%. But of course, with the challenges that we have in the country at the moment, like availability of cash and so on, have made it such that we have seen a drop in mobile penetration to 92%. Yes, we also experience those challenges as you have experienced in Nigeria.
Thank you. Minister.
Hello. With respect to greater ITU collaboration with academia, I do know that we've been having conversations with the NCA about how to facilitate the more Ghanaian universities joining as members of the ITU so that you can be part of the study groups and be part of the great body of learning which is currently ongoing within the ITU. I believe that's something that we have already discussed and are considering facilitating because there's some payment of membership dues that need to be done. But we've had those conversations about how we can do that. I also know that we have provided Garnet with some support. So it is a bit more active now than it used to be. And that's also going to provide a lot of assistance for the research community to be able to get access to the data and the connectivity that they need to facilitate their work. Like Nigeria too, yes, we face the challenges of multiple regulations and multiple taxation, but those conversations are already ongoing. I believe even with rights of way and all those issues, there is an active group which is currently working with the Ministry of Local Government, Ministry of Roads, in terms of facilitating that. There are conversations with the Ministry of Local Government in terms of streamlining the way local authorities, district assemblies, by the imposition of local taxes on all the telecoms companies and how it's impacting on their work, multiple regulations wherever they want to work and how it is affecting their work. It's something that those conversations need to be deepened across board, and we need to see how we can make it easier for the telecommunications companies to deliver on their services. I know one of the major concerns are fiber cuts, and that's also some of the conversations that we're having currently. As I indicated, rural penetration and connecting our unserved and underserved areas is one of our major priority areas. So this, within the past year alone, through the Universal Access Fund, we have constructed, in partnership with one of the network operators and other service providers, constructed almost 120 new cell sites in unserved and underserved areas. And this is us against just over 100 being constructed in the past 8 years. So that should just give you an idea of the focus we are putting on rural connectivity. If we don't do that, we consign significant parts of our country to be outside the whole wave of digitalization which is taking place. And we don't think that is good for the development of the holistic development of the country. So I have an ambitious target. I don't know if I'll be able to attain that. But by the year 2020, if every part of this country is connected, I would say my work is done.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister. Thank you very much. I think the question is answered. The work is never done as far as reaching out to the rural areas is concerned, but I think we can see that the whole continent is trying from here to there. But Regina asked for a couple of minutes to weigh in, so please.
Les questions qui ont été posées, ce sont généralement des questions de coopération. C'est la question de l'implication de l'UIT et des universités a été adressée. Également, quelques questions liées aux défis de régulation. Ce sont des questions assez pertinentes. C'est vrai que, de façon générale, je pense que la coopération est un élément, sinon une solution assez importante. Mais je dirais mieux la coopération d'abord locale, avant même d'atteindre la coopération régionale, puisque nous vivons les challenges de façon locale d'abord. Donc, il faut déjà chercher à impliquer toutes les parties prenantes au plan local. Donc, les universités devraient être intégrées dans le processus, les organisations de consommateurs, toutes les parties prenantes devront pouvoir se retrouver dans le cadre d'une plateforme pour adresser justement ces questions qui pourraient permettre de donner un aperçu général des problèmes vécus par chaque entité. Concernant la couverture des zones rurales, aujourd'hui, c'est une problématique de régulation importante. Il faut, à mon sens, entrevoit une régulation souple. On était dans une phase, dans une approche de régulation un peu coercitive où lorsque l'opérateur n'arrive pas à atteindre l'objectif de couverture, il y a des sanctions, il y a des amendes, il y a tout un tas de pénalités liées aux dispositions réglementaires, mais il faut faire évoluer les dispositions réglementaires, il faut aller dans une approche de régulation souple, donc s'asseoir avec les opérateurs et définir de nouvelles directives pour les emmener à atteindre ces objectifs, pour investir au niveau des zones rurales. Nous pensons que c'est l'une des solutions qui pourrait véritablement aider à apporter des solutions dans ce sens. Il y a certaines tendances qui parlent de neutralité technologique. Donc, ce sont des questions éventuellement qui doivent se faire dans le cadre d'une coopération renforcée. Naturellement, il faut également aussi réfléchir aux facteurs de réglementation. Les défis aujourd'hui concernant la protection des données, les services émergents soulèvent pas mal de problématiques. C'est vrai que nos pays sont confrontés à des questions spécifiques, mais il faut penser à une harmonisation également des dispositions réglementaires au plan communautaire. Donc une approche de coopération locale, une approche de coopération régionale permettrait de développer solutions autour des initiatives. Et je pense que nous sommes dans la bonne voie puisque nous avons pu identifier des initiatives. À notre sens, il faut implémenter, il faut penser une mise en œuvre de ces initiatives. Merci.
Thank you very much. I think we are at that time. But if there's anything that we can take away from this session, is that we cannot transform this continent without digital transformation. We cannot transform this continent without transforming our economies into digital economies. We have the means, we have the people, we have the will to do it. I think as we spend the next 2 days, as Regina has said, we have an opportunity to discuss further. We have an opportunity to engage these distinguished panelists more. We have an opportunity to come up with a plan for the next 4 years for ITU and yourselves to work together to attain at least a roadmap to digital economy. I heard the minister has a deadline of 2020. There is a deadline for SDGs 2030, but I think for our continent, for our people, it is a lot more urgent than that. So we shall keep doing what we can. In the next 2 days, it is my hope that as me and my team present to you what we've done in the last year, as we present to you the skeleton of what we suggest could be built on for regional initiatives, I hope that you can engage and come to a roadmap that will use the 5 regional initiatives to bring us to a digital economy in Africa. We have for a long time talked about accessibility, connectivity, affordability, security, inclusion. All these things are still valid. There is no better time to include both boys and girls to come up in the digital environment, because these are the ones that are going to lead our countries. There is no better time to make sure that connectivity reaches every part of your country, my country, our continent. There is no better time to make sure that the services that we bring, the services that our people bring through innovation are affordable. Therefore, we must do everything that we can, at least to come to the level of other people. When they say they have 100 gig in 100 meg in their houses, and you come to a business office that relies on it and they hardly have 5, that is a question of how the connectivity, the connectivity to the internet is priced for us as opposed to them. This must be a priority both in policy, it must be a priority in doing business, but we also must realize that we can only reduce these, come to the affordability that we want competitively if we have a critical mass of users. That depends on what my distinguished panel has been talking about, and it is my impression that they have done an excellent job, and I would like to ask you to please appreciate them. I will now yield to you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you all.
Thank you, Andrew. Great session, great contributions. I like the statement, we cannot transform this continent unless through a truly digital economy. But I need to add that we cannot attain a mature and efficient digital economy unless we have a good end-to-end connectivity. I think so. If you listen to panelists from Zimbabwe, DRC, Cote d'Ivoire, and Ghana, the country I love so much, the theme is the same, connectivity. I'll quickly, before I explain our next step, so one of the things that we have done here in Ghana, because to get end-to-end connectivity throughout the country, it doesn't come by chance. Sometimes you have to be agile, right, as a regulator, flexible. So here in Ghana, for example, as a telco, when you are giving your 2G, 3G licenses, we tie you to a spectrum. So, for example, if you're doing 2G, you get a 900 spectrum, right? Now, over the years, technology has advanced and realized that within the same 900 band, you can actually provide 3G services. So, together with our supervisory Ministry of Communication, what we came out with gave the telcos the ability to deploy UMTS 900. UMTS is Universal Mobile Telecommunication System. It allows you to deploy 3G within a 2G range so that you can actually reach out to both unserved and underserved community. These are strategic initiatives that, as a regulator, you need to, right? And we're able to do that without charging the telco. We didn't charge them 1 cent because as the minister said, she's in a hurry. She wants to get this thing done by 2020. So we need to incentivize the ecosystem. Connectivity is the underlying factor as we deliberate on how to get digital. You can't get this digital economy if you don't have connectivity. Great session, Director Andrew and panelists. I think on behalf of everyone here, we say thank you. Now, a quick program update. Because of time, we're going to skip the next session and we go straight to lunch. We're going to go straight to lunch and be back here by 2:30. Be back here by 2:30. Now, all those who have the invitation, can I have a copy? You have a copy? The invitation? If you have this invitation card, please proceed to the front and you will be transported to the NCA offices in cantonments. We are launching the type approval lab. It's a nice lab that we're launching. So please, if you have a copy of this, right, transportation is available. We're going to take you to NCA cantonments office. The rest I think stays here for lunch, right? And then we are all back here by 2:30. Sounds like a plan? Okay, let's clap, please. Once again, thank you all and see you at 2:30.